Look, I don't care how many times you've done one of these things. Use a checklist. Go through your checklist when you're loading up your transition bag, anything else you need for a race day. Look at the checklist and physically touch each thing to make sure you have it. That way you don't forget anything. So it's a couple days after Ironman Atlantic City 70.3. I've had some time to kind of think over the results, the race, how everything went. And so I want to give you my short recap just of the race and how things went. So it was a self-seated swim. I was hoping for somewhere between 35 and 40 minutes. So I seated myself, I think I forget, it was broken down into like 10-minute increments. And I think it was like 20 to 25 minutes or something like that. 25 to 35, 45 to 55. It's like that kind of a deal. Anywho, I'm pretty sure I went off I was either in the 25 to 35 or the 35 to 45. Something like that, regardless. Swim felt great going in. All the way down and around the turnaround, everything felt really nice. I did feel some current on the way back, and there were a couple points where it literally felt like I wasn't going anywhere. But I kind of just chalked it up to me, but found out later on that some people were definitely experiencing some other issues as well. So swim came out to 42 minutes. I did use the wetsuit strippers that are right there coming out of the swim. So I would say that they probably took about a minute to a minute and 30 seconds to get my suit off. So I believe you hit them before you hit the timing mat to start T1. So my swim may have been a little bit shorter had I not used them, but then my transition would have been a little bit longer, so I was fine with it. Grabbed my bike out on the bike. Bike course was great. It was beautiful. There were a lot of potholes, but the potholes were marked all with bright pink spray paint or orange or whatever, like all marked with neon colors. My one thing with the bike is always plan for the worst case scenario. So this is where my race kind of took a turn, and I ended up losing somewhere between like 3 and 4 bottles from my bike. 2 of which were just regular water that I got from the course. So it sucked because I then had to wait until the next aid station to get more regular water, but I also lost 1 empty bottle from my nutrition and 1 full bottle from my nutrition, and this really messed me up. I was like obsessing over it for the rest of the bike. I was obsessing over trying to find it because it was a looped course, so every time I would go by the spot where I thought I lost it, I would slow down and try and find it, which slowed my bike time down. But then I got myself really worked up because I was worried about not having enough calories to fuel me for the run. So it actually got to me so bad at one point that my stomach was like really starting to hurt on the bike, and I was really worked up about it. But I finished the bike and everything was fine. I mean, there's bananas and Cliff Bars. Like there's a lot of calories that are out there that you can consume. It was just, that was my nutrition and I lost it. So I was upset about that. Onto the run, and I knew I was just gonna have to slow the burn rate. So I took down my first bottle of run nutrition pretty quick, but luckily I had a plastic bag with extra powder tucked into my kit. So I used that and then switched over to Coca-Cola around mile like 8 or 9, and just fueled with Coke and water for the rest of the run. This was the first time that I ran the entire half marathon. The only part that I walked was the aid stations. And in the early aid stations, something that I did different this year was I did not walk those. And I felt better about that. Typically, I always told myself that I was just going to walk the aid stations, and then no matter what, towards the end, I ended up walking in between the aid stations. This year, I ran through the earlier aid stations and just grabbed some water and stuff like that, and felt really good on the run. So all in all, I was 5:39:33. That is 20 minutes off of the original time at Challenge 70.3, which was a couple years ago, and it was actually 4 minutes slower than Ironman Atlantic City last year, but I was one of the ones who had the shortened swim wave. And in my swim, excuse me, last year was like under 30 minutes. So yeah, I definitely had a shortened swim last year. So I'm very, very happy with this race. It was a really, really amazing way to finish off the season. Ended up staying down in Atlantic City Sunday night, had a really, really nice dinner at Bobby Flay with my girlfriend, and then we went to a comedy show and we just hung out in AC Sunday night before coming home Monday, and it was absolutely perfect. Like it was just a really, really great way to end the season. So if you have not done Ironman 70.3 Atlantic City, I highly suggest you check it out, because I mean, I just love the course. Leading into this race, I got a little Facebook memory from 4 years ago, actually same weekend, that was the first time I had ever raced a triathlon, and it was in Atlantic City, and it was on the same weekend. So it was just like a really fun weekend for me. Brought back a lot of great memories. So I love that race, and I suggest you check it out too. It's a great race down there, both the 70.3, and there's also an Olympic and sprint distance. So I thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.